Hello, my friend. In today's video, we're going to let go of others' expectations, or at the very least, we're going to create some awareness within ourselves that will ease up any, outdated expectations of others that might be lingering around you. Because if you're watching this video, I sense you're ready to do that here and now, and that's just wonderful. Because while others may or may not be well-meaning with us, the most important energy I have found to uphold in our lives is the one that resonates from deep within our core, informed by our truest values. And sometimes we can find ourselves living out patterns in our lives based on our upbringing, our environment, on others' expectations, on loved ones' expectations, or maybe even our own expectations that are built off of the things we thought we needed to be in order to live as who we truly are. But sometimes what happens when we do that is we sometimes create extra effort in our lives. And what I mean by extra effort is there are many ways that we can live and experience a certain end goal in our lives. And for me personally, the most fun way to live is the way that delights me on multiple levels. And I'm certain that there are ways to live that delight you as well. And if you found this video, I am also certain that you are connecting to more ways of living that are actually in alignment with what you truly care about. Not what you think you should care about, and not what you've been conditioned to care about. And so I consider this video at least one waypoint in your life in which you may be able to loosen up some of those old patterns and live as the most empowered version of yourself. Because that's how all of us see you here. And that's what this space is all about. So, with that being said, this is our first time talking, or if this is our 10th or 39th and a half, hello, I'm Danielle Lynn. I enjoy helping people embody their most empowered self, sometimes through funny dances, today through video. And in today's video, one of the things that we are remembering together is when we can let go of other people's expectations of who we should be. Now, through our lives, we'll find that we feel really drawn to connect with others. You know, they say we're very community-based creatures. We are, from a certain perspective, a human collective. Whatever it is you believe, we're all living here together on this planet. And we're all connected, even if it's just through the air that we mutually breathe. And yet, we can perceive, whether you're looking at the world as a big expanded place, or even if you want to look so far as your family or your local community, there's harmony and then there's conflict. And a lot of us, I think we found ourselves in conflicts at one point or another, maybe wondering, how do I deal with this person or situation? How do I get out of this? I'm going to share with you a few perspectives that might help you not only disengage from conflicts with more ease, but create more harmony in your life. If you've watched one of my videos before about mirroring, I've explained a little bit about our perceived projections or how people may or may not show up in our lives. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll link it in the description. But to build off of that a little bit, in our lives, we encounter people, and our experiences of those people are really ultimately going to boil down to our state of inner relationship with ourselves and how we perceive them. We can only really perceive others based on our own capacity, whatever that capacity is. There's no blame, shame, or guilt in that, but again, we can only perceive others based on our own capacity. And the same way, others can only perceive and interact with us based on their own capacity as well. And that's capacity for anything. Capacity for them to perceive goodwill, capacity for them to perceive what others are capable and not capable of. So some people, for example, may go through life trying to see the best in others. Others might just assume everyone's out to get them, and so on and so forth. It is fairly accurate to say that most people's experience of you is really more of a reflection of their own inbuilt experience of reality rather than who you truly are. Which is not to say no one can see who you truly are, but by and large, everyone is really coming from their own unique perspective while we're in this human experience. And so when people are reflecting things to you, you can take that with a bit of curiosity, you can take that with introspection, you can discern what's true of it and what's not, but just perhaps remember not to take any of it super duper personally. Again, since people are only ever reflecting to you their experience based off of their perception, their beliefs, their patterns, right? Now, to a certain level, the consistent company you keep might tell you a little bit about your own beliefs of self and perspectives and perceptions. For example, if you spend a lot of time around people who you feel torment you, then perhaps you're reflecting to yourself a certain level of tolerance to torment. And again, there's no shame, blame, or guilt in that. Every single one of us gets the opportunity to choose and discern where we place ourselves, where we place our energy. And sometimes we find ourselves in difficult circumstances that may not have any apparent easy answer. Such as if you find yourself in a work environment that's challenging, but then the choices are leave the work environment and perhaps financial stability you leave in an uncertain world or opportunity, or to suck it up, so to speak, and continue to engage with challenging people. What I will say is that we do always have a choice, but that choice can even be where we place our focus, how much emotional energy we give any given situation, and where we notice our power is. And this might be a very advanced concept to contemplate. But one thing I say to people is our ability to be empowered creators in our lives starts exactly with where you're at. Our empowerment doesn't come at a future date when you have more of this or more of that. It comes in each and every present moment where we remember that we have the choice of where we place our focus inside and out. And once again, that choice doesn't come with shame, blame, or condemnation. The choice you're making may be more difficult than the choice someone else is making. And it's not about fair or not fair, blame or not blame. It's not about what's easy and not, and how things should or shouldn't look. It's not about having who has more or less money or higher, lower consciousness. If we peel everything else away and simply start with the awareness that you get to choose where you place your focus, with the tools and resources you have inside and out, all you are doing is declaring your empowerment in your unique way here and now. And without shame, blame, or judgment, what that does is something very powerful. It just shifts you into the neutral, declarative state that you are an empowered being of choice. Now, you may be an empowered being of choice in a less than ideal situation at that moment, but nonetheless, you are an empowered being of choice. You may be an empowered being of choice that has health challenges, mental challenges, inner, outer conflicts, a million things going on, but you are still a being of choice. And the reason that's empowering and powerful to remember is that you're also a being of choice who's operating in a collective field with many other beings of choice. And so there's a bit of a paradox there, because when we choose to be human, we are also choosing to interact with others who are making choices. We are choosing to be in environments that can affect us to certain levels. But we give our power away from the inside out first. And certainly there are some people who have greater challenges at a present moment with that than others. But it still remains the same. When we give power away or whether we claim power back, it comes from the inside out first. And I reiterate that because it can be very empowering to remember that. It can be very frustrating sometimes too. I have felt frustrated by that revelation in the past. And it's also been one of the greatest keys to some of my deepest freedom. And perhaps it will be for you as well. And so to our topic of others, of releasing expectation, of freeing ourselves a little bit more, this starts with that reclamation of your own power with yourself. Any arguments you have, but this, or but that, or but money, or but challenge, or but health, you may listen to them. There's no judgment on that. And they all may be true for you. But just remember that any excuse we give ourselves in the present moment, first this must be true before I can be free, is just a story we are telling ourselves. My experience is that freedom is a choice and comes within. Freedom doesn't necessarily mean you have to be happy about with how freedom feels at the moment. It might not feel that great right now, but it's a state of being. When you start with that, you start realizing that the power, true power, isn't dependent on the external forces. It truly does begin from within. And when you do that, external forces have less of an effect and an impact on shaking your inner self. And when that is so, you can make choices and direct your energy with more and more clarity. Now, I want to invite you not to worry if this is something that sounds like a lot right now. This is, for me, it has been a continued commitment with life and with myself. And there are times it's easier and there's times it's harder. But because I come from it with a place of commitment, it's never really a choice of whether I'll do it or not, because I've already made the choice to be committed and embodied with it. When we're still thinking through something, we haven't made the decision yet, it's because we're not fully committed yet. And one of my favorite quotes is, it doesn't matter if you're 50% committed or 99% committed, until you're 100% committed, you're just not committed. And again, there's no shame or blame in that. I spend a lot of my life avoiding commitment, avoiding going 100% in, and feeling very clever with life, because I'm like, I could be half in, half out. I don't have to commit. For myself, the experience was that I was never really fully engaging with anything. But I did find that things that I did truly go fully in and fully committed with, life began unfolding in more fluid ways in those areas of my life that I committed to. And something further I'll say is commitment isn't something that we can force ourselves to do either. I have found for myself commitment is something that I embody. It comes from the level of my body, my gut, my heart, and my mind. And so if you're not committing to something yet, you don't need to blame or force or push yourself. Just get curious and say, well, if it's not this, then what do you feel committed to? Because I won't force you to commit to something that isn't your truest self, your truest truth. When we do this, we form relationship with ourselves, we form awareness with ourselves, and we also form relationship with both our intuitive and our instinctive selves and our higher selves. And all these elements of our intelligence, including our brain, can then work together in harmony to bring about a deeper intelligence and wisdom that works through you, which is when we don't have to work so hard to figure things out. Because then you know when to act, when to step forward and take action, and then you know when to surrender and listen and pause. And this is something, if you're watching this video, then it is my truth in any case that you are on that path. Whether or not that's what your active current experience is, I perceive you as being on the path of living this. And I hope you give yourself some congratulations for that, because, you know, it's a bold path, but it's also a very loving path. And so to tie this all together, you know, with others, the greatest key I have found is the more awareness I have with myself and the more willingness I have to be clear on not only my inner grounding in space, but that ultimately it is my choice and my focus where everything comes from. When external elements interface with me, when others talk to me, when others share with me, I can always start within first and discern for myself, is that true or not? And because I'm not coming from a space of attempting to argue with or convince or fight or do anything with others, because I can come from a place of trust within myself, that I'm always making choices and operating from the fullest good and joy of all, then the answers come clearly. I don't need to say yes when I mean no, or say no when I mean yes. And you can too. But it all starts with that choice to honor that inner wisdom of yours and to understand that you do and are that power here and now. And if you decide to regularly start practicing the awareness of that power, that as you consistently do this, you will start to see that you can then exert that power in loving and consistent ways in your life without needing to use force. You can exert that power in flow-based ways. It happens naturally because it's who you are. Power doesn't need to roar. Power is a presence. And I perceive you on the path of cultivating and embodying that presence. And that's excellent, my friend. If this video has been of help, inspiration to you, please feel free to leave a comment, share any questions you have or any thoughts about embodying your power. I enjoy reading them. Please do feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll have resources in the description as well if you would like to go deeper, if you would like to explore sessions or anything of the sort. I so appreciate you, and I look forward to our next conversation.